Rick Patterson couldn't believe what he was hearing. It was a Monday morning in March 2025, and he'd been running Patterson John Deere in Marshalltown, Iowa for 32 years. He'd seen thousands of farmers walk through those doors, but he'd never seen anything like this. The man standing in front of him wore Carhartt overalls stained with grease, boots caked in mud, and a faded seed company cap from the 1990s. Outside sat a 1994 Dodge Ram with rust eating through the fenders and 287,000 miles on the odometer. "I just want to check my balance," the farmer said. Rick actually laughed out loud. He assumed the guy wanted financing. Poor phrasing, but farmers weren't always articulate. "Sir, if you want to apply for equipment financing, I can help you with that. What are you looking to purchase?" "No," the farmer said. "I don't want financing. I want to check my account balance." Rick was confused. "Your account balance? We don't have customer accounts here. This is a dealership, not a bank." "I know. I have an account with you. I want to check the balance." Now Rick understood. This farmer had bought equipment years ago, probably still owed money. "Oh, you have an equipment loan with us. Let me look that up. What's your name?" "Bill Henderson." Rick typed the name into his system. No active loans. "Sir, I don't show any active financing under your name." "I didn't purchase," Bill said. "I made deposits." Rick blinked. "Deposits? We don't take deposits. We're not a bank." Bill sighed and pulled out a worn leather folder from his overall pocket. Inside were receipts. Dozens of receipts. All from Patterson John Deere. All deposits. Rick's hands started shaking as he read them. March 1996, $12,000 deposit toward future equipment purchase. June 1998, ATA 500. September 2001, $15,000. April 2004, $22,000. The list went on and on. November 2007, $31,000. February 2011, $28,000. August 2014, $35,000. May 2018, $42,000. January 2022, $48,000. September 2024, $52,000. Rick grabbed a calculator. His hands were trembling now. Total deposits over 29 years. $370,100. He looked up at Bill, his mouth hanging open. "You've been depositing money with us for 29 years? "Yes. Why?" "Because I planned to buy equipment when I needed it. Figured I'd save up first, pay cash, avoid financing." Rick was stunned. "Sir, we're not a bank. We don't pay interest on deposits. You've had $380,500 sitting here earning nothing for decades." "I know," Bill said calmly. "That's fine. I didn't need interest. I needed a safe place to save that I couldn't easily access. If it was in my regular account, I'd be tempted to spend it." Rick's mind was racing. This dealership had been holding nearly $400,000 of this farmer's money for almost 3 decades. He checked the computer system more carefully and found it. Customer prepayment account, Bill Henderson. Balance, $380,500. The deposits were real. "Mr. Henderson," Rick said slowly, "I need to ask, why are you checking this now?" Bill smiled. "Because I'm ready to buy. I'm 72, been farming 48 years. Now I want new equipment, 3 tractors, a combine, a planter, all cash." Rick's jaw dropped again. He pulled up inventory with shaking hands. "3 tractors. What models?" "I need a 370 horsepower for primary field work, a 230 horsepower for secondary work, and a utility tractor, maybe 125 horsepower. Rick calculated quickly. "That's $900,000 for the 3 tractors. The X9 1100 combine is $720,000. The DB 120 48-row planter is $390,000. He looked at the total and felt dizzy. "Total for everything, $210,000. Bill nodded. "Okay, I have $387,500 here. I'll bring the rest in cash tomorrow. Can you have everything ready for delivery next week?" Rick's mouth fell open. You're going to bring $7 million in cash tomorrow? Yes. Is that a problem? That's... Rick couldn't form words. That's the largest cash purchase in our dealership's history by far. Where are you getting $7 million in cash? From my safe at home, Bill said matter-of-factly. I've been saving for 48 years. Not just here, everywhere. Banks, cash, investments. I don't believe in debt, so I saved until I had enough. Rick needed to sit down. This farmer in dirty overalls who drove a 31-year-old rust bucket was about to pay $1 million in cash for equipment. Rick had spent 32 years assuming he could read farmers by their appearance. He'd been dead wrong. Mr. Henderson, I apologize for laughing earlier. You assumed I was poor because I look poor, Bill said with a slight smile. I get that a lot. Rick had to ask, why did you wait so long? You've been depositing money since 1996. That's 29 years. Because I didn't need it earlier. I farmed with old equipment, maintained it, made it last. New equipment doesn't grow more corn. It just costs more money. I waited until my old equipment was truly worn out. Now I'm replacing everything at once. What do you farm? How many acres? 420 acres. Been the same since 1977. Never expanded. Rick did the math in his head. This farmer had saved $1 million farming 420 acres. That was impossible. Except it wasn't, because Bill was standing right in front of him. The next day, Bill returned with his son, his accountant, and a hired security guard. He brought $1,723,000 in cash, hundreds and fifties in 2 large duffel bags. Rick had notified the bank and arranged for armed security. The money was counted, verified, deposited. Combined with the $387,500 already on account, Bill paid $2,110,500 total. Rick processed the largest sale in Patterson John Deere's history. His commission, $105,525. But more than the commission, Rick learned something profound that day. The farmer he'd laughed at had more cash than Rick had seen in 3 decades of business. The man who looked poorest was richest. The joke was on Rick. But how did Bill Henderson save $1 million farming 420 acres over 48 years? Because what Bill did wasn't luck. It was discipline so extreme most people would call it obsessive. Bill bought his 420 acres in 1977 when he was 24 years old. He'd worked construction for 5 years and saved $38,000. The land cost $268,800 total. He put down his entire savings and financed the rest at 8-9% over 20 years. His monthly payment, $2,140. For a 24-year-old, that was crushing. Bill's solution: work constantly, farm during growing season, construction during winter, side jobs whenever possible. His first decade was brutal. 80-hour weeks for $42,000 annual combined income. After land payments and living expenses of just $8,000 a year, he saved $8,320 annually. But he also paid extra on his land every chance he got. Every tax refund, every bonus, every unexpected income went straight to the principal. By 1989, 12 years after purchase, Bill owned his 420 acres free and clear. He was 36 years old. With no land payment, everything changed. His farming income hit $48,000. His winter construction income, $16,000. Total, $64,000 annually. Living expenses still just $8,000. Savings, $56,000 per year. But Bill didn't trust banks completely. He remembered the 1980s farm crisis, remembered banks failing. So he diversified, kept some cash at home, some in banks, and started making those strange deposits at Patterson John Deere. From 1996 to 2025, Bill made 14 deposits totaling $500. But that was only part of his savings. He kept $3 million in cash at home in a safe. He maintained $240,000 liquid in bank accounts. He had $430,000 in municipal bonds. Total wealth by March 2025, Ford $385 million. Bill Henderson was worth $4 million. Nobody knew. He drove that 1994 Dodge Ram, lived in his original 200-square-foot farmhouse from 1977, wore overalls for 10 years until they wore out. Other farmers thought he was crazy. Why is Bill depositing money at the dealership? That's like putting money in your mattress. But Bill didn't care. He had a system and stuck to it. People always asked him, "Why don't you buy new equipment? You can clearly afford it." Bill's answer was always the same: because the old equipment still works. He farmed with a 1979 International 1086 tractor for 24 years, rebuilt the engine twice, replaced the transmission once. Total maintenance, $18,400. A new tractor would have cost $85,000. He farmed with a 1987 John Deere 4450 from 2003 until 2025, 22 years. Maintained it religiously. Total maintenance, $14,200. A new equivalent would have cost $180,000. His combine was a 1995 John Deere 9500 that he bought used in 2001 for $42,000. Farmed with it for 24 years. Maintenance, $31,000 total. A new combine would have cost $420,000. Bill's total equipment investment from 1977 to 2025, approximately $238,000 for purchases and maintenance combined over 48 years. His neighbors spent an average of $18,000 per year on equipment payments and maintenance. Over 48 years, $864,000. Bill saved $626,000 by using old equipment. Add compound interest on that savings, and it contributed over $2 million to his total wealth. After Bill's purchase, Rick couldn't stop thinking about it. Here was a farmer who'd done everything wrong according to modern farming advice. Didn't expand, didn't upgrade equipment regularly, didn't leverage debt to grow, didn't maximize gross revenue. Yet Bill ended up wealthier than farmers who'd done everything right. Rick started looking at his customer base differently. He had farmers with 3,000 acres who owed $2 million. Farmers with brand new equipment who were one bad crop year from bankruptcy. Customers who looked successful but were leveraged to the breaking point. Then there was Bill. 420 acres, old equipment until now, no debt, $4 million net worth. Rick called a staff meeting 2 weeks after Bill's purchase. "We need to change how we approach customers," he told his sales team. "We've been pushing everyone to upgrade, to finance, to grow. That works for some farmers, but it destroys others. From now on, we ask, what does the customer actually need?" His senior salesman objected. "Rick, if we only sell what they need, our commissions drop." "Maybe," Rick said, "but our customers survive. And customers who survive keep buying. Customers who go bankrupt buy once, then disappear." Some salesmen quit, but the ones who stayed found something interesting. Customers trusted them more, were more loyal, sent referrals. By the end of 2025, Patterson John Deere's revenue was down 8%, but customer retention was up 23%, and they had far fewer bad debts. Rick learned that Bill Henderson was right. Selling more isn't always better. Selling appropriately is better. Word spread fast through the community. Bill Henderson just bought $2 million in equipment cash. People were shocked. Bill, the guy with the rusty truck, the guy who wore overalls with holes. That Bill. Some farmers were inspired. Others were defensive, making excuses. Bill only saved because he never had kids. Not true. Bill had 3 kids, all college educated, and he'd paid their tuition in cash. The truth was uncomfortable. Bill succeeded because he was more disciplined than they were. But 3 young farmers called Bill asking for advice. First was Jason Torres, 28, farming 240 rented acres. Mr. Henderson, how did you save $2 million? No. Bill's answer, I spent less than I made for 48 years. That's it. Not complicated. Did you ever use credit? Only for the original land purchase. Paid it off in 12 years. After that, zero debt ever. Jason implemented Bill's advice. By December 2025, he'd saved $8,400. A small start, but a start. Second was Rebecca Walsh, 32, who owned 180 acres but had $78,000 in equipment debt. Should I pay it off or save? Pay it off, Bill said. Debt is guaranteed cost. Savings is uncertain gain. Eliminate guaranteed costs first. Rebecca redirected all savings to debt, paid off $22,000 in 2025, felt lighter immediately. Third was Daniel Morris, 35, farming 520 acres with $340,000 in debt. Bill, I'm overwhelmed. I owe more than I'm worth. What do I do? Bill's answer was harder. Stop borrowing. Stop expanding. Pay down debt. It'll take years, maybe a decade, but it's the only way. But everyone says I need to grow to survive. Everyone's wrong. You need to own to survive. Growing while owing is just digging deeper. Daniel didn't take the advice. Too hard. 2 years later, when he eventually lost the farm, he remembered Bill's words. You need to own to survive. Rick himself had a revelation. He'd made $4 million in commissions over 32 years. Where had it gone? He should be wealthy like Bill, but he wasn't. The answer? Rick spent everything. Made $125,000 per year average. Spent $120,000. Saved $5,000. Bill made $70,000 average. Spent $20,000. Saved $50,000. Rick earned more. Bill kept more. Keeping mattered more than earning. Rick was 56 in 2025. He decided to change. Started living on $60,000 and saving $65,000 of his $125,000 income. Why are we suddenly living cheap? His wife asked. We can afford nice things. Because nice things didn't make me wealthy, Rick said. They made me look wealthy. Bill looked poor and was rich. I looked rich and was mediocre. I want to be actually rich. By December 2025, Rick had saved $52,000. First time in his life he'd saved that much in a single year. In November 2025, Patterson John Deere hosted a customer appreciation dinner. Rick invited 80 farmers and asked Bill to speak. Bill initially declined. I'm not a speaker, Rick persisted. Bill, these farmers need to hear your story. Most are drowning in debt. You prove there's another way. Bill agreed and spoke for 15 minutes. His key message: I'm not special. I'm not smarter than anyone here. I just decided early that debt was slavery and savings was freedom. I chose freedom. It took 48 years. It was boring, it was difficult, but it worked. Anyone can do what I did. Most won't, because it requires giving up things you want now for things you need later. But anyone can. Someone asked, what did you give up? Everything non-essential. New trucks, new equipment, vacations, eating out, nice clothes, entertainment. For 48 years, I gave up comfort for security. Now I have security forever. Was it worth it? Ask me when I'm 80 and still farming because I want to, not because I have to. Standing ovation. After the dinner, 17 farmers talked to Bill, all wanting advice, all inspired. Rick watched from the side. The farmer he'd laughed at 8 months earlier was now the most respected person in the room. 9 months after Bill's purchase, Rick invited him back for a follow-up meeting. Bill showed up in the same overalls, driving the same 1994 Dodge Ram. Some things never change. How's the new equipment working? Rick asked. Perfectly, Bill said. The difference is remarkable. But you know what's interesting? My yields didn't increase, still averaging the same bushels per acre. The new equipment just made the work easier and faster. But the corn doesn't know if it was planted by a 1979 International or a 2025 John Deere. It grows the same. So was the upgrade worth it? Yes, because my old equipment was finally worn beyond reasonable repair. The value wasn't in making more money. The value was in making my life easier. At 72, I appreciate that. Do you regret waiting so long? Bill thought carefully. No, because waiting allowed me to buy everything cash. If I'd upgraded 20 years ago, I'd have financed it, paid interest, been in debt. By waiting, I paid $2 $1 million instead of maybe $3 million after interest. I saved $1 million by being patient. Worth it. The room absorbed that. Patience saved $1 million. Rick asked what everyone wondered. Bill, what are you doing with your remaining wealth? You have over $2 million left. Leaving it to my kids and grandkids, but with conditions. They get it when they prove they can save money themselves. Don't want to give millions to people who will waste it. What if they never show discipline? Then it goes to charity. I'd rather help strangers who work hard than family who waste money. Bill's 3 children, all in their 40s, immediately started saving more aggressively. In December 2025, a local reporter interviewed Bill for Farm Journal magazine. Final question. Bill, what would you tell young farmers starting today? Bill's answer. I'd tell them the truth nobody wants to hear. Getting rich farming is simple but hard. Simple because the formula is obvious. Spend less than you earn, save the difference, avoid debt. Hard because it requires decades of discipline. Most young farmers want to start big, want new equipment, lots of acres, impressive operations. They finance everything, look successful immediately, but they're building on sand. One bad year and it all collapses. I started small, stayed small, looked unsuccessful for decades, but I built on bedrock. Now I'm 72 with more money than I'll ever spend and zero stress. I can farm because I want to, not because I have to. That's freedom. So my advice, choose freedom over flash, ownership over growth, patience over speed. It'll take 40 years instead of 4. You'll look poor while getting rich. People will judge you, but you'll win in the end. And winning at 70 is better than losing at 40. The magazine article got 280,000 views online. The farmers who thought it was outdated advice stayed in debt. The farmers who listened started saving. Bill's story changed Patterson John Deere. By December 2025, 19 farmers in Marshall County were actively following the Henderson method. Buy only what you can pay cash for. Use equipment until actually worn out. Save aggressively. Eliminate all debt as fast as possible. Never expand on borrowed money. Would they all become millionaires? Maybe not. But they'd all sleep better at night. The dealer laughed when Bill said, I just want to check my balance. Then he saw the receipts, saw the deposits, saw the cash. The laugh died. The respect grew. Never judge a farmer by his truck. Judge him by his balance. Bill's balance, $4, $4 million. Bill's truck, 31-year-old Dodge with rust. Bill's wisdom, priceless. The farmer who looked poorest was richest. The dealer who looked confident was shocked. The balance that seemed impossible was real. And somewhere in Iowa, a 72-year-old farmer in worn overalls drives a rusty truck to his paid-off farm and operates $1 million in debt-free equipment and sleeps perfectly at night because he has zero stress and infinite peace. That's the American dream. Real version. the one that actually works. If this story inspired you to think differently about wealth and discipline, don't forget to subscribe for more incredible true stories that challenge everything you thought you knew about success.